All right, this is it, our last demo video for the course. So in preparation, I currently have all my pages open in a browser so I can check how it's going as I mess with things. And I have all my pages open in Sublime as well. And I'm on main, and we're going to be working on a form today, so we're going to be messing around with the contact page. You want to have your contact page look like mine, approximately. You don't need to find Jen or contact Jen. You have your own information there, your own picture, not my family. But you can certainly copy this from Brightspace. I put it in an announcement. You can get this text going. This will get you going for the walkthrough. Now, the first thing I want to do is I've got my header and I've got my navigation. I want that to stay, but then I've got like a text box and I've got a picture box, a division. So I want to get rid of those. But first I'm going to head over to main, the style sheet, and create a new ID selector. I don't want to get rid of text and image because I'm using them on other pages. I'm just going to add a new one and then not use it on my contact page. So navigating around my style sheet, I'm going to the bottom and I'm just going to hit enter, start a new line. Because we're doing an ID selector, we use the hash brown. I'm going to call it contact form. Give it the curly brackets. For now, I'm just going to tell it to do a couple of things. I'm going to match the width to my other boxes. So I'm going to say width 1024 pixels. And I'm going to float it left just in case, because things go crazy all the time. But that's good for now. I'll head over to my contact page, and looking at what I've got here, I see, my header, I've got my navigation, which is great. I've got these two, text, and I have image about because I have a couple different pictures, but I don't need those. So you can just alter this one and change this divider into the contact form, or sorry, division. I always want to say divider. Contact form, and then delete the image one. Okay, I'm going to save and refresh. So I see I've lost a lot of things. There's my footer's right above my navigation. There's a background, there's no color. That's all right. That's because I have kind of an empty box there right now, but we're going to fill it up. We'll use the form tags to do this. So I'm going into my contact form box and I'm adding an opening and closing form tag. Form tags tell the browser that you're going to store this information somewhere. Like this is something that I'm taking input from a user and sending it somewhere. Now, because we don't have a server, we have nowhere to send it. So there's some elements that I'm leaving out of this, partially because there's rendering involved that uses a different language and it's beyond the scope, but we're at least going to make it look pretty, and you'll be able to fill it in, you'll be able to hit submit, but you're not going to get that kind of results gathering on a spreadsheet or on a server that you would if we were live with this. So the main thing we're going to use on our form are labels in input. So when I make a label, it's just going to give me some typing that goes with an input beside. So open and close a label. There we go. And the first label I would like is someone to tell me their name. Now reading left to right, I'm just going to sneak an input box in here. And when you do an input, you don't need to close it, but you are going to have what type of input is it? What do we want to call it? What does the browser want to call it? So you'll see some things where it's like name equals name. That'll happen for this one because a name for the name will be the name, but other ones will have different names and hopefully it will make a little sense. So first I'm going to tell them the type of input I want. And I want it to be text. That lets the browser know that we're grabbing a text string. You can have spaces, whatever, that's okay. And here's the weird part. I'm going to name it for future things that I can't do right now. And the name would be, in this case, yes, name. Or number. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to put in Well, I'll put in a couple more things. I'm going to put what we call a placeholder, and that's like the gray text you see in a field that says, type here or whatever. So we're putting one of those in as well. It won't do anything. It's just saying, directing the user to put your name here. So what I'll put in this is what I want to see. I want to see the words, your name. And the last thing I'm going to add is the word required. This means that you can't submit it or make anything happen without adding a name. So we're going to add a submit button eventually, and we won't be able to do it without a name. So let's save and refresh. Okay, so not super attractive, but there it is. It's starting, and you could type in. Oh, look at all my Calculus Sandbox. Let's go with that one. Note to self. But we don't have the submit button right now. However, I think if we hit enter, it might try and submit it. Nope. Okay, that will come. We're going to do this again, and I'm maybe even just going to cut and paste. We're going to change a few things. Or copy and paste, rather. Don't cut, copy. Okay, so we'll start here. The next thing I want people to add is their email. So I'm going to change the label to email. And I'm going to change the input type to email. And that means it's looking for that @ symbol. So it won't let me submit, once again, unless I have an @ symbol in there. So it kind of just filters out a bit of the spam you're going to get. Sorry, my dog is really snoring in the background. Once again, if we were storing this information, we'd probably call it an email. So, and then our placeholder would be your email. And this is another one that I want to keep required. So I'm going to save and refresh on the browser. Okay, I don't want these on the same line. So we're going to do a little bit of a hack here, just because sometimes this is what it comes down to. After name, and I'll do it separately, I'm going to type a tag which is BR, which means line break. So if I do that, at least it's moved down. It's a little tight though, so you can add more of these. Yeah, and this should be done with fancier things, but we're at the end and I'm good with this. If I add another one and refresh, so it gives me a little bit of spacing. So I'm going to do that after my email because I'm going to keep adding fields as well. So I'll have another BR, and it doesn't need to be on the next line. It just tells me that I'm going to have some space for my next field. We're going to do a different type of input now. So we create a label. Ooh, no, not a label. We try again. And we close it. Perfect. And this one's going to be like, sometimes these places ask for your birthday. I'm not sure why my All About this course would want to know your birthday, but maybe I do. Maybe I'm nosy that way. So I'm going to put birthday, and I'm going to add that input tag before the end, the closing tag of the label, not an input or an input. And once again, we're going to go type. And this time we're going to say date. So this is going to give us that date picker like we had in Word. And we're going to say name. I'm going to branch out this time. Name equals birthday, because that's the information you're gathering. I'm not going to make people do this. It's not required, but we'll have it there. And I'll add some breaks for future styling purposes. Oops, but I'll add them after I finish my label. Okay, let's save and refresh. Okay, and it just looks like a line, but when you click on it, or the little calendar, it gives you the ability to travel around and pick a date. Excellent. Just scroll down a little bit so we can see a bit more. The next thing I'm going to add is, actually, I'll put the text first. So, what do you always see? Like, contact me via email. So please send me offers and promotions about this course. Also not making much sense, but whatever. Okay, so I haven't contained that. It should just appear. Let's see what happens, actually. No, I would not like to press that. If we do this. Yeah, so it just comes in as a text line with that spacing because we put something in before. Cool, cool. I'm going to break after that so that we have the next thing on the next line. Okay. What I'm going to add now are radio buttons. So these are like checkboxes, but the neat thing about them is that you can only select one. So if I put in a checkbox, I could have a whole list of them and people could put check marks by as many as they wanted. Radio buttons force you to make a choice. So yes or no. We need to create a certain amount of them, however many choices you're giving someone. So I have a label. This is a yes button. And I'm going to go input type and just radio. So if you wanted checkboxes instead, here you would put checkbox. And I'm going to have the name be offers. So whether someone said yes or no to offers. And then I'll close the label. Oops. There we go. Thank you. We go over, refresh our browser. Yes, now we only have one choice. And if you click it, you get a little blop in that. And you can't click off of it because you've only got one choice. So we're going to have to talk about a reset button too eventually here. We want to add another choice. So I'm going to copy everything in the code and I'm going to paste it. I'm not 100% sure if it'll come on a new line. So I will add a break as well here. So I want it all styled separately. There we go. Now, I already have a yes, so this is going to be our no button. And it's going to be an input type radio. And the name is still going to be offers because you would store this information in the same kind of column or whatever in your spreadsheet or in your kind of database. You'd say, you know, here's the offers, and you would indicate whether someone said yes or no. So like I said, a little beyond the scope of our course, but something to think about. There we go. Yes or no. Staying on our form, we're going to change it up a bit. And we're going to make a button that is a submit button. So we can call it type submit. And even though it's a button, it's going to work because it's within the form. So we're going to go back to good old button. And we're going to give it the same style as our other buttons, our navigation buttons. Oops. Button style, there it is. And we're going to call it type. And we're going to make a submit. And what this does is like it sends the information. So if you click on submit, it sends the information. Sometimes if you were to hit enter, it would also send it, and you don't want that to happen. Now, we've described everything. We need to put a word inside our button. So we put submit after the button opening tag, and we put a closing button tag. Save and view. There's our submit button. So at this point, I can start typing. Oh, good Lord. Okay, let's go with this one. And then if I hit submit, it clears because it's gone somewhere. It's actually gone nowhere. But in theory, it would somewhere. I'm going to add another spacer, the BR, after that. And then I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to add a reset button, which clears your form. So if you started typing, you don't like what you chose, it will clear things. So let's change the type, and this exists as a type. There's so many types. Reset, no, not sret. Reset, better. And let's change the wording to reset. Save and refresh. Now take a moment to explore these things. So if you start typing in here and you know, it's not an email, you hit submit. First it's telling me I didn't fill out the name field, so I'd have to put a name in there. I hit submit, and then it's telling me, you know, this doesn't look like an email. If I were to leave it blank, it would also tell me to fill it. So it's giving you those error message happening. And then if I wanted to select yes, but I changed my mind to no, it only lets me choose one thing and I can clear the form that way. We have everything we need now. So the next step really is cleaning up. So I'm going to start by cleaning up this page. And the first thing, I'm probably going to remove all of the background colors. But the thing I see here is when I see my header, Contact Jen, it's light green. So if I take out that kind of background color, I'm not going to be able to read that. So I need to change the color of my text. it can be a bit of a bear remembering where you did all these alterations, but always check your style sheet first. And so I know that's the header box, and I look in the header box and I see that I have a background color of pale goldenrod. I'm going to remove that right now. And this will remove it everywhere. So think about what you want when you do this. So I'm going to take off that background color, and I don't have any text color alterations in that selector, so it must be somewhere else. And in fact, if I scroll up, I can see that if I had had an H1, the color was yellow green. So instead of yellow green, I'm just going to make it something more visible, maybe navy. I save and I refresh. Whoa, I must have a background color somewhere on that. Hold on. Of course, main container still has a color. So it has that background color of light gray if you look at line 11. So I'm going to take that out as too. So if you don't see what you want, something else hasn't been fixed yet. I save and I'm going to try that again. There we go. Looking better. Well, I'm here. I'm probably going to remove, actually I'm going to leave this for now, because what I don't like is how tight my contact form is to my navigation. So we can fix that with padding. This will be an alteration I make on main in the selector. So I'm finding contact form, and I just want it to kind of scooch down a bit from the home contact about. So I'm going to go padding top. It's going to add some room for me. And maybe, I'll pick pixels. And at the same time, I bet my copyright is pretty close to, so I'll add some padding bottom. Let's call it 20 pixels. Save and refresh. There we go. So a little bit of space. Maybe I want more. Let's make it 20 pixels on the top too. Just mess around with whatever looks good to you. Yeah, that wasn't that different. Okay, it's also kind of ugly as it is. It's hard to read with my dark background. So I want to kind of spice it up a bit. I'm going to make it bolder, so I'll add that font weight attribute. So here we go. Font weight. You can change lots of things to change it. I'm going to go bolder. And I like things in the center. So I'm going to go text align. And I'm going to tell it American Spelling Center. And let's see how that looks. Better. Submit and recite are close together, so I'm heading back over to my contact form, and between submit, actually after no as well. This is me being picky. Send me offers and promotions. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with yes and no there, but I'm going to put another break after no, and I'm going to put another break in between submit and reset. Oops, question mark. And let's see if I like that better. I do. It's up to you. This is what I like. Okay, so I'm liking how this is looking. So what I'm going to do now is go back to main, and I'm going to take the background color off of the navigation. Selector, where we are. So we have background color light sky blue. So we have some padding this one already. I'm going to take it off, and there we go. And a final refresh. I'm going to just expand this a bit for a second. I'm okay with this. Could I change some stuff? Yeah, I can make my button style have bolder things for sure. Go ahead, spice it up, do whatever you want, but this is good enough for me. Okay, what do my other pages look like? So this is what mine looked like before. Woo. So I'm going to refresh. Oh, have I already fixed this? Okay, so there's something here that I didn't think would be fixed. And here's my main page. So not great. Refresh, right? Because we removed those background colors, so we see that. But we still have a text box here with some back colors. Maybe I don't like this font anymore. I'm going to do a few changes on my page and see how that goes. Okay, set that all back up again. All right, so I'm on my index page here. I want to remove the color from the text box This will remove it from all text box, remember? So if you go to your main sheet and take off the background color, that should remove it. When you refresh, and you know, do I like that font? No, so you can change that. Now remember, what you did to have that font, I think, was an alteration of the paragraph. Let's go look what we did. So remembering what you happened here. So where is this welcome to my website stuff? Yes, I put a class selector, change font, and it made it that fantasy font, which now I've decided I don't like anymore. I'm going to take it out and see what happens. Good. Now, of course, it's not bold enough, so I'm back to my style sheet. So messing around, I can make the text bigger, but for now, I think all I'm going to do is add that font weight bolder to the text one. And let's see how that happens. Good. Okay, so coming out. Yeah, I'm okay with that. All right, so we fixed that. We like our contact sheet. Okay, what's going on here? So I purposely made text that was too big for my text divider. Or division. Okay, so you have some options here. Now you can increase the height. You've got a picture here too, so that's gonna make some messed up things happen. If your picture's the right size, suddenly it might double if you increase it. You can take out the height requirement and then it should kind of stretch itself to what it needs to be. Another neat one you can add is an overflow option. So what I would do for that is on main CSS, I would go into text and I would tell it overflow. So any text that's too big that goes outside of my box, I want it to scroll. So you can type scroll, but actually auto works as well. So when I refresh, I see that I have that scroll bar now. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And we took out, I hadn't refreshed this one, so we took that out and we changed the weight. Perfect. Let's look at this. Oof. What's the last thing I'm probably going to do? I don't like that copyright being so close to my text. I would add some padding in various locations. So maybe I'll try and be clever, because I know if I put padding on the bottom of the text, the image is kind of beside it and I don't trust myself, so I'm going to put padding top in the footer where the copyright is. I'm going to put 20 pixels, so that should just space it down a bit. And at the same time, I'm going to roll the dice, and it's not terrible. Let's see what happens if I put padding bottom in the navigation to move the text in the picture down slightly. Now I might have to change the size of things because my navigation box is only so high. Let's see what happens. Okay, full screen. Scrolly. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Make sure, refreshing everything, nothing. We got a bit of change in our spacing because we changed our navigation. That's fine, and we should see a little change here. Perfect. This is good enough. This is full marks. Hopefully it says something about you and not about my course, but this is the end, my friends.